Welcome to Kitchen Uncovered. I'm Chef Andrew Nicholson of the Culinary Institute of Canada. Today at Annie's Table Culinary Studio in New London, Prince Edward Island. Guest chef today, Mike Clark from Terre Rouge. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're a graduate of the culinary, Mike, and you've had a very successful early career. So tell us a little bit about that.
I graduated from the culinary in 2010, and then I worked at Dalve for a little bit, and then I ended up going back to the school for the PEI Olympic team.
Right.
And went overseas, did some competing over there, and then came back and started work at Terre Rouge.
So that was at the Erfurt Olympics in Germany?
Yes, sir.
And you got a couple gold medals for that?
Silver.
Silver?
Silver medal with the team.
Awesome. Cold salon?
Yes.
Awesome. And you've been doing some competing recently as well?
Yes, at the Shellfish Challenge just last weekend.
Just last week. International competition?
Yep.
Had some chefs from all over the world?
Yeah, all over the world. There was a guy from Finland, the US, and then all over Canada.
Yeah, and you came second representing the island.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Very well done. So today we're going to do some recipes and some techniques that you've kind of picked up and developed over the years.
Yes.
And some of the things you do at Terre Rouge.
Yep.
So what do we got in the menu today?
We're going to do a country pork pate, warm blueberry pudding, and a butter poached lobster.
Okay, sounds great. So where do we get started? What do we do?
With the pork pate. So
okay.
If you would like to saute the mushrooms.
Okay. So we're just going to start with what? A little bit of butter?
Yeah, butter.
Your pan pre-warmed up?
Yes.
And so we start with a little bit of butter. I get the pan on high. So we want any colorization in this?
Yes, yeah, we want to kind of get a sear and to develop some flavor, some caramelization and color. Then you're going to add the shallots and deglaze with the brandy.
Okay, and we're using chanterelle mushrooms and button mushrooms today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what are we doing? And why are we using the chanterelles?
They're my favorite mushrooms. Usually we get them from Chef Hans at the restaurant. He's been a mentor of mine, so I like using mushrooms from him, and they're great.
Okay, so we're going to start with the shallots. And what's with the country pate? What's the kind of secret behind it and what makes it?
Just having simple ingredients and having it seasoned well. It shouldn't be too complicated, just a nice pate.
Okay, and what kind of flavor are we looking for?
Just kind of foresty with chives, mushrooms, black pepper, just super simple.
Okay, so we're just going to sweat these off a little bit. Get the heat up a little bit. We're going to use button mushrooms as well?
Yes.
So I don't need all of these. We're just going to add a few in. And this is going to add a little bit of, and you normally, so this is kind of a just pork and mushrooms pate. Is there any other ingredients that you sometimes have as far as the restaurant goes?
You can use chicken livers. We put foie gras in it sometimes. It just really depends on what you're in the mood for.
Okay. And so do you need ground meat? Do you need diced meat? What cut? Any particular cut of the pork that we need?
Usually we use pork shoulder. We have pork loin today, and we're going to use the RoboCoupe, but you can also grind it.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be a high-end cut or lean or anything. You kind of want a little bit of fat in there.
You want the fat in there for some flavor and moisture.
Okay. So is that something you would grind up?
Normally we'd grind it, but the food processor works fine at home.
That works as well as... Okay, so we're just going to saute these off. So how cooked do we need the mushrooms to be?
Usually fully through. It's fine.
Fully through?
Yeah.
Okay. And a little bit of salt and pepper in there as well?
Yes.
Okay. So you do a lot of charcuterie items at Terre Rouge?
Yeah.
What's kind of the menu kind of developed around?
Quite a bit. It focuses on, the charcuterie is like our thing, and the menu is just focused on local products and vegetables and just trying to use what we can from PEI.
Right. And how did you find the international experience as far as the competition is concerned?
It's great. It's nice to see what other people and from other parts of the world use, well, what they do with the same ingredients, because what we do here in PEI is different from Saskatchewan or Finland or anywhere else.
Okay. So do we need to chop these or anything? These are just kind of randomly shaped?
Yeah, and they're just going to be put in with the mix anyway. Just
okay. So once we get these sauteed off, put in the brandy?
Yep.
And that's just to add flavor, right?
Yes. Just to kind of deglaze the pan and get all that caramelization into the mix.
Okay. So that's pretty good. And I think sometimes you use chicken livers as a binder as well?
Yes, yeah, you can definitely use chicken livers, and those would get seared off beforehand and put in with the pork.
Okay, great. All right, so this is getting to about where we need it to be. So what do we do next with the...
So we'll start with the pork and get it in the RoboCoupe.
Okay. So the pork's just randomly diced up with the fat. Not all the trim gone, but you don't want an excessive amount as well?
No, you want the sinew removed, but the fat in there is great.
Okay.
And some panade, so it's
What is the panade?
It's breadcrumbs and cream, just acts as moisture and a binder, just kind of keep the whole thing together.
Okay, so a bit of a binder.
Yeah.
And you would use that if you had the chicken livers or anything, or
yes,
instead of eggs?
Yeah, you can, it kind of all works together.
Okay.
So just some chives, parsley, black pepper.
And you could add whatever flavors you wanted in there
Yeah,
as well, right?
it's pretty open.
Okay.
And then give that a pulse.
You're gonna pulse that up. So it doesn't need to be, it's country style, so it doesn't need to be completely smooth.
No, it doesn't.
Right? It just needs to be bound up and and chunks. So I'll give you get a spoon here.
Okay.
I'll let you put that in.
Thank you.
And then I notice you got some whipping cream here as well. What's
just in case the mixture is too tight, you can put some cream in there to loosen it up.
Okay. Okay. So is there any particular, so that's all that's in there. Some herbs, sauteed mushrooms, shallots, some brandy.
Yes.
And pureed, and then a little bit of cream to loosen if you need to. And so any particular amount of time or anything you got to watch for as far as heat from the processor goes?
You want to try to keep everything as cool as possible, and then just transfer it into the
tureen mold?
Yep.
Okay, so Lois Craswell, a graduate student of the Culinary Institute as well, is giving us a hand in the back today. She's got one pre-done up ahead. Okay, so for our purposes. So this is kind of what we're looking for.
Yes, yeah.
When it's all said and done, right? So doesn't have to be smooth.
Nope.
All the flavors are through. How do you know there's enough seasoning and flavor in there?
Usually just do a quenelle and poach it in water. So
and just so
adjust
you
the seasoning.
And then adjust from there before you cook it. So how are we going to cook this particular today?
In a water bath, so normally we put saran wrap and tin foil, and then another vessel with hot water, and then in the oven for an hour.
And what's the purpose of the water bath?
Just to create moisture and steam so it doesn't dry out.
Okay, so we need just enough water to come up halfway up the dish?
Yes.
All right, and then we put that in there. All right, it should be touching?
Yep.
And you don't want it to overflow in the dish, right?
No.
And this is just to create some moisture in the oven just so that it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we need to cover that?
I usually do.
A little bit of saran wrap?
Saran wrap and tin foil.
And tin foil, okay. Lois, could you grab us some there, please? And then this goes into what temperature of oven?
300.
300 degrees?
Yeah, for about an hour.
An hour until cooked through to what temperature?
I usually take it to 160 and let it rest.
Okay. Thank you, Lois. Okay. So this will go into the oven. We'll just let that cook off until done. And you don't have to use, we have this particular saute pan, but you could use
tureen mold, a third pan insert, any ramekin, anything really.
Whatever shape you're looking for.
Yep.
Thank you, Lois. Okay. So that goes in the oven. So you want to, do we get our oven preheated?
Yes.
Okay, so just slide that in there. And don't go away, we'll come right back. We're going to do some blueberry pudding. Don't go away. Welcome back to Kitchen Uncovered. I'm Chef Andrew Nicholson with the Culinary Institute of Canada. Today at Annie's Table Culinary Studio in New London, Prince Edward Island. Guest chef today, Mike Clark from Terre Rouge Restaurant. So Mike, today we're doing country style pork pate.
Warm blueberry pudding and butter poached lobster.
Excellent. So we have our terrines in the oven.
Yes, sir.
And now we're going to do our blueberry cake.
Yes.
Pudding.
Blueberry pudding.
Excellent. So where do we get started for that?
With a caramel sauce.
Okay.
So we got about 2 cups of sugar and a 1/4 cup of water.
Okay. And we're using white sugar for this caramel sauce?
Yes.
And we do that instead of using brown sugar for any particular purpose?
I just prefer the white. It just it's a nicer flavor.
Okay, just better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's going to go on, and you got to keep an eye on that, right? Because we added water to it to help with the slowing down of the caramelizing of the sugar. So if we don't keep an eye on that, what might happen?
If you get it on the sides or you try to move it too much, it'll form crystals on the side, and then it'll split your sauce. It'll be grainy, and the texture won't be nice.
Okay, so you want to keep an eye on it, make sure it's all soaked.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
just get that on low.
Yes, and then just
kind of keep an eye on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do we need for our blueberry pudding?
For the blueberry pudding, we have flour, blueberry compote, blueberry juice, blueberries, brown sugar, and eggs.
Okay, so what's our combination? How do we mix it?
We're going to sift our dry ingredients together. So the flour,
okay,
salt, and baking powder.
Okay, and we'll just sift that through just to get any lumps out.
Yes.
And to blend all the dry ingredients together.
Yeah, so it's evenly mixed.
Okay.
And then in this bowl, we'll just mix all the wet ingredients. So the blueberries.
So that's pretty much it for that?
Yep. So the blueberries.
It's blueberries. You got to get blueberries all over everything.
That's true.
So we have our blueberries in our compote.
Yep.
And our juice. So what do we do to make the compote? What is the compote made
It's
of?
just a reduction of blueberries and sugar and a little blueberry juice, actually.
Okay. So we had our eggs.
Yeah, but we're going to whisk the eggs together with the sugar and add the brown butter.
Okay. And the brown butter we got over here. So why do we use the brown butter, Mike?
Brown butter just to add another layer of flavor, like the kind of adds a toasty, nutty.
Okay. So does it matter if it's hot or cold, or can it just be?
You want it at a temperature that's not going to coagulate the eggs.
So you want it liquid.
Yeah.
Not refrigerator cold, but.
Yeah, and not too hot.
Okay. And just to get that hazelnut. So we've done brown butter before. We just, cook the butter till the milk solids start to brown off. You get that nice hazelnut flavor. So, okay. So our sugar and our eggs.
Yep.
And our brown butter.
And then
that goes into our blueberry mix.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that just gets stirred together?
Yes, and then it gets folded into the dry ingredients.
Okay, so then we bring this back up. So what's your ratio of cups of flour here? You got 2 cups of flour?
2 cups of flour and 2 cups of liquid. It's pretty moist. It's kind of forms like a batter, and then it's just piped into.
So it's almost like a moist pudding batter.
Yes.
Okay. And then the blueberry mixture goes into the. And are you trying to stir this till all the lumps are gone, or just a nice even mixture?
Yeah, you don't want to work it too much because it'll get tough. So just enough to fold the entire mixture together.
Okay. You can take that out of your way. And just until the flour is incorporated, can you overmix this?
Yes, you definitely can. It'll develop the gluten in the flour, and then you'll get a tough cake instead of a
doughy type muffin. Okay.
So that's about it right there.
Okay, so that's it. Then we put this into molds. Any particular shape molds?
You can kind of do it in anything you like. Usually I use a small ramekin and for an individual portion.
All right. So Lois, thank you.
You're welcome.
Lois brought those forward for us. So we have ramekins that are greased.
Yep, and
just a little bit of flour?
Yes, just so it'll prevent them from sticking to the.
Okay, so you want a ladle for that,
yes,
Mike?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. And portion them up, and then these, how do you bake these in the oven and at what temperature?
In a water bath and at 300 degrees, and it takes about 15 minutes.
Okay, and are we looking for any particular texture in them? Should they be moist?
Moist. They'll still be pretty soft, and
should they be liquidy when they're done?
No, they should be past molten stage, but still kind of not cooked all the way through.
Okay, all right, and you almost serve them warm, cold, as is?
Serve them warm. You could serve them right in the ramekin, or you could unmold them if you like.
Okay, all right, and then we're going to put this in a water bath?
Yes.
So how much water do we need?
Just about halfway up the sides of the container.
Okay. And again, that's in a 300-degree oven for about 15 minutes or so?
Yes.
Okay, and our sugars are starting to boil. So we need to wrap that?
No, these ones go uncovered.
Okay, so we'll put those in the oven. And keep an eye on our sugar here. It's just starting to bubble up. And like I said, you have to make sure that your sugar stays controlled. If it climbs up the sides, it could seize and crystallize on you. So we have some extra. So what do we got going on here? We got some almonds?
Yes, almonds, they're for the garnish for the dish. So usually just lightly toast them.
Okay. So do we chop them up or anything? Or do we
chop them up
use sliced almonds for that?
No, just a rough chop.
Just a rough chop?
Yes.
Okay. And you could use almonds. Could you use walnuts or any other nut?
Yeah, walnuts, any other nut you like. Almonds are my favorite, so I tend to use them.
Okay, and these go on as a garnish?
Yeah, just to add texture to the soft pudding.
Okay, and what else is going on the?
Salted caramel sauce and a buttermilk chantilly.
Okay, so we got our caramel sauce on the go. And we're gonna, so do we need any oil? What do we need?
No, just a dry pan. You just want to lightly toast them. You don't want to fry them or make them bitter.
And you could do these in the oven as well?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll just let our pan heat up there a little bit. And we'll just toast these off. So So no oil, we're just going to use the natural oils out of the almonds themselves and just kind of let them sweat and do their thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to give me those other ones there, and we'll toast them all since we got them on the go. Okay, so we're gonna, sugar's on the go, our almonds, our cakes are in the oven. We're gonna check on our tureen. Don't go away, we come right back. We're gonna do butter poached lobster. Don't go away. Welcome back to Kitchen Uncovered. I'm Chef Andrew Nicholson of the Culinary Institute of Canada. Today at Annie's Table Culinary Studio in New London, Prince Edward Island. Guest chef today is Mike Clark from Terre Rouge Restaurant. So we've done a
country pork pate. We have our caramel sauce almost ready to go there.
Okay. And we have our blueberry puddings in them. So the caramel sauce has been simmering and going on.
Yes.
Right. So we just have white sugar in this so far.
Right.
And we started with a little bit of water, and it's come to the caramel stage. So what do we do now? Because now it's very touch and go.
Right. So now we're going to whisk in our cream.
We're going to whisk in a little cream?
Yes.
Okay. Pass me this one. So how much cream, Mike?
Just kind of.
To Canada. Check out the recipes on our website, kitchenuncovered.com. Catch you next time.